Hello again, Internet. I'm coming to you today to talk to you about my current desk. So I've received a lot of comments lately on my Lag Captain video, and yeah, that's the only desk video, yeah. So I've received quite a few comments on that one, a lot of questions too, asking my thoughts on the Lag Captain, on the Linman, and what desk I'm currently using. So I figured, you know what, it has been a while. I have swapped between a few desks since then, so here is the story for all of you.
So it wasn't too long ago that I had constructed this Lag Captain desk. I had been looking to create a new space. I came across the Lag Captain from IKEA. I liked the color scheme, the aesthetic, and thought, hey, this would be perfect. But as those of you who watched the video know, I came to realize that the Lag Captain just seemed like an inferior product overall. The build quality was just not up to par. I didn't feel comfortable leaving anything heavier on the surface, and I couldn't stand how wobbly it was. So eventually, I decided to return. Actually, not even eventually, not too long after I returned it using that excellent return policy. After returning it, I immediately went to Amazon to look up a superior desk. My hope was that I would find something that was a bit more rigid. So what I did was I searched up strong, rigid metal desk or reinforced desk. And while I did see a lot of desks, I eventually settled on this one, called the Homifine computer desk. And here's a picture of the desk as I was preparing to return it. Packed it back up in the box, which is why it's always a good idea to keep your packaging. And here's a photo of the now empty space. I kind of miss this. I like having more space, but with my current setup, which you'll see later on in the video, we don't have as much space anymore, but it was nice while it lasted. Now, while I didn't have the foresight to take a video of the other parts, here is a time lapse of me assembling the desk. And assembly overall was pretty straightforward following the instruction manual. As you can see, I've now encaged myself. Oh, no, not anymore. But it was overall a very simple build, and everything was packed very nicely. I was really impressed as I hadn't purchased furniture from Amazon before, and to see it like this, oh, that's awesome. And as you can see, we just got it into place.
Now, at the time, I really liked that look that I had created because I was going for that more rustic, industrial look, with the dark brown contrasted with that dark metal. I really liked the aesthetic. And as you can see in the shots, it does look pretty good. So I used that desk setup for a while, and as I'm looking at the photos now, one of the nice pluses was there was that added little piece on top where you could put the monitor, so that it came with the desk, and it was really, really nice. And you can see also that the headphones can sit underneath. So overall, it was pretty good. But clearly, this desk is not that desk. So what happened then? After using the desk for about a week or two, I started to notice that there was a bit of a dent or a divot starting to form because, like I said in the previous video, I like to rest my forearms on it. And I started to realize, while this desk is in fact more sturdy than the Lag Captain, it still isn't as sturdy and as rugged as I would like it to be. Now, am I looking for something like cast iron, 5,000 pounds? No, but I realized that I had to spend a bit more. That if I paid for a Lag Captain, I was only ever going to get a Lag Captain. So this desk too did eventually leave us and end up in the hands of someone else. And so the search continued. Farewell, Homifine. Now, in reality, it wasn't really much of a search. I did have a name that perpetually bounced around in my head when it came to these desks. I talked about it a bit when I first started with the Lag Captain. I mentioned the KARLBY and the Alex, and surprise, surprise, that's actually what I ended up going with. But I'll give a bit of insight into the actual experience of assembling and purchasing the KARLBY and the Alex. Now, a few things to note is that, yes, that is a very popular desk drawer setup combo, hack, as some people call, from IKEA. But some things to note are that, one, the KARLBY is a pretty heavy desktop. It's actually, in fact, it's supposed to be used as a countertop. So it is very heavy on its own. It's something that you actually don't find in the showroom or on the self-accessible, like the warehouse section where you just grab it yourself. You actually have to purchase it in a very unique way. You need to take a code, you need to scan the code and then make the purchase there, and then bring it to an area where you pick up the furniture, at which time, hopefully they're not busy. because they were busy when I went, and I had to wait about 15 to 20 minutes while they fished my KARLBY up from the depths of wherever it came from and presented it to me. The Alex drawers also are quite heavy. So I guess my message to any of you who are watching is that if you decide that you want to go down this road, I strongly suggest that you either bring somebody who can help you maneuver all of these things. Be mindful that if you're going to drive to an IKEA and pick up this desk, it is big. To be able to fit this behemoth in your car, you're going to probably need at least an SUV, potentially a sedan, but even then, looking at if you sat all the way pressed up, no, I would strongly recommend an SUV at a minimum. A truck with a flatbed would be ideal, but it depends on the weather or where you're from. But the easiest would be if you ordered it online and had it shipped. But here's something else you need to consider too. Now we're just kind of diverging away from the video, but IKEA, I don't know how many of you know, they recently announced that they're going to be increasing their prices by an average of 9%. I did a bit of preliminary research, aka I just browsed the internet for a bit, and it sounds like for some items, this has gone up almost as high as 20 to 30% per item. Now this is specific items, of course, but just to put it into perspective, let's say a $100 item increases by 20%. That's a $20 increase. If it's a $200 item, that's a $40 increase. So again, things to consider. Check the prices. I got this before all of that happened, but you know, it's hard to say what it's going to be like now. But anyways, let's segue back into the KARLBY and Alex setup.
And here's a shot before the storm. So I did again have the foresight to set up the camera to take a few time lapses, and basically what you're going to see is me taking the time to assemble each of these Alex drawers. Now, like I said, the packages are a bit heavy, and the KARLBY especially, it's nearly 70 pounds, and being quite difficult to maneuver and hold was a pain to get up to the room. But fortunately, my dad was there to help, so he helped me bring it upstairs, and that was all fine and dandy. And what I realized about the Alex drawer is that there are a lot of little components involved to make this thing happen. And another thing I noticed while I was doing this assembly is that these products, obviously, they use a bit of wood. It's not solid, real wood. There's, I think, like it's again particle board or something like that, or highly dense MDF. I forget the terms, but the main point is that there are small particles that are loose. I'm talking about like very tiny wood chips in a way. And so if you're doing a lot of these assemblies in an enclosed space like I was, what I started to realize was that I was inhaling a lot of this, and it was getting quite dusty and gross and uncomfortable overall. So I recommend doing this either in a more open space or even potentially wearing some sort of mask just to prevent these little things from coming in. And as you can see by the end, I did figure out a nice method to the madness. And with the drawers done, we were about 90% of the way there. All that was left was to put the desktop on top of the drawers. And luckily, again, I had my dad to help, and oh, there he is. Thank you very much, Dad, for your assistance. And voila, the complete setup. You'll notice also that there is an addle leg in the middle. And here it is with all of my peripherals on top, followed by a few more shots. And that was my complete setup for the next little while. And this is a funny one. This is a picture of me being a good employee, and also with my new brick wall wallpaper, which I used for a bit but realized it just wasn't really, I wasn't really feeling it anymore.
So, as you can see, this is where I've been for the last few months. Not literally, I was not sitting in that chair for the past few months, but overall, this is the kind of space that I had. And as you can see, yes, I'm making the video live as we speak right now. Boom. YouTubeception. That's the secret of the magic right there. The buffalo. Tatanka. Anyways, gosh, I get distracted easily. So let's take a look at this setup overall. I'm just gonna move a bit. Okay. So what are my thoughts about this? Well, this desk is a far more rigid than what we were previously acquainted with both the LAGKAPTEN and the OhpinyaNATED. As you can see, the desk okay, that's something that I never got around to, and okay, let's not look at that. But anyways, the desk, as you can see, is, well, more than an inch thick, and you know, it's very sturdy, and I think it is bolstered definitely by this addle leg. But anyways, This desk is solid through, unlike the Lag Captain, which was really the biggest weak point of that desk because it looked nice. It looked great. And a lot of you still ask me, is the Lag Captain sturdy? I'm going to be putting this amount of stuff there. Is that going to be okay? I can't tell you for certain because there are so many variables at play. How heavy is your monitor? How vigorously do you use your battle station? How many items do you have on your battle station? All those kinds of questions are going to differently impact it. So overall, what I would say is that if you are questioning whether or not something is going to be strong enough, that should be a little red flag in your head saying that, maybe I should get something a bit more durable if I'm even having these concerns at all about this particular product. Hopefully that line of logic makes sense to you. But anyways, water is good. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. I haven't done this kind of video. Usually I'm on the other end of the camera. But what I want to say is that, yes. So this desk, one common misconception is that, oh, this is IKEA's best desk because, you know, it's solid wood, but it's actually a veneer. So if you were to cut it down, I don't know the exact meaning of that, but basically it's not true wood in the sense of, you know, like a bunch of sheets, like a solid chunk that is carved into the shape of this desk. As you can see, the pattern is just so man-made and synthetic that wouldn't be possible. So it's something else. But regardless, I can say for a fact that it is very solid. And the addle leg, I would say, is also, while some would say it's recommended, I would say it's borderline essential, because if you look at the stats of this particular KARLBY desk, it does say that there is a maximum distance that can be bridged, and I believe it's about 30, no, not 30 inches, but there is a certain length. And so if you actually allow the KARLBY to span from one Alex drawer to the other, that exceeds the maximum allowance for bridging the desk, which will likely cause it to bow in the middle. Now, that's the word we were looking for earlier. Or, you know, because of the weight on top, which is something you just don't want to happen. So at least get the addle leg here. It provides support in the middle, and I put it right under the monitor because I figured that's going to be the heaviest point in the center of the table. So there you go. And a few of the other things on my setup are the speakers that you can see. These are the Razer Nomos that I made a video for. They are actually pretty good. Can I demonstrate? Maybe I can. Let me see. If you like country music, you like country music. If you hate it, you hate it. But speakers do a pretty good job. I got the computer over there, game system over here, potted plant. But overall, yeah, I'm really happy with the setup. And as you can see, the window, which is covered right now by the blinds, is right over there. So without any further delays and stuff, this is my current setup. I'm using the KARLBY with the two Alex drawers. Oh, final point. So this is something I noticed. These Alex drawers, people talk about them often. And one thing I didn't realize about them is how great they are. So I'll just pretend this is, you know, first person point of view, FPS. No, not shooter, but first person point of view. So just like this, I can access all of my items. The drawers are excellent. Oh, hello, Jim Ross. Is it Chris Jericho? Oh, okay. But yeah, there's just, you know, a lot of space here, and aesthetically just looks so nice. And yeah. So I hope this video has helped you a bit and given you a bit more insight into, you know, my journey to finding the right desk for myself. And ultimately, what was the lesson? Go with the majority. I mean, yes, there are a lot of people who use LagKapten, a lot of people at the time who were using the Linman, but a lot of people have spoken highly of this KARLBY Alex combo. Is it more expensive? Significantly, yeah. The LagKapten and the 4 Addles legs on their own, I think, are below 60 or 70 Canadian dollars. The KARLBY desktop on its own, within Canada, is more than $200. Add in the Alex drawers, which I believe were $100 each, and you're looking at a complete setup which runs you north of $400. Far more than the LagKapten setup. So again, money is something that you need to consider. If money is a deciding factor for yourself, you may want to stay away from this setup. I have heard that there is a a countertop that IKEA produces, I believe starts with an S. Maybe I'll probably try and find you the photo and put it right, ding, right there. And that is an option. It would be a bit cheaper, but it's still not going to be, as cheap as a lag captain, because again, like I said, if you pay for a lag captain, you're going to get a lag captain. You're not going to get something better. You get what you pay for. So that is an option. But what I would also advise is that even if money is an issue, depending on, of course, again, depending on how much of an issue it is, if it's a bit of a contributing factor, but not really like the be all and end all, consider that if you're planning to use this desk for an extended period of time, you can look at it as I spend this amount and I buy one desk that lasts me X number of years, X being however many years you plan to use it for. You can divvy up the total that you paid over that and think of it as, well, this is how much I spend every year. Versus I buy the lag captain this year and I realize, ooh, didn't listen to Nathan. And we're going to go with a different one the next year. And then, oh, it wasn't good. And you just keep buying another desk and another desk and you're not happy. Pay a bit more for a superior product, a product that is of better or higher quality. And even though the cost is higher, it lasts a lot longer. So its value over time works out to be actually superior. So yeah, that's my take on it. Would I do anything differently? If I could do it all over again, I kind of wish that I didn't pick up the lag captain. Sure, there was a learning experience there, and sure, it led to a video that probably helped a number of you, which is great. But, ultimately, I wish just kind of skipped that and gone straight to this. So I guess another takeaway is, again, some things are more expensive, but as long as it's something that's going to last, then it maybe isn't as out of reach and as bad of an idea. Now, of course, there are other things to compare it to, like, spending obscene amounts on something and you're not getting that same increase in value, then that's maybe something where you shouldn't make that kind of rationalization that I just showed you. But I think in the case of the table, I would say that it makes much more sense to pony up, pay more, and get a much, much better product. Now, again, if this is maybe like a college setup, you're going to be in your dorm for a year, 2 years at most or something, right? And then you're going to, for some reason, I said 2 years, okay, and then you're not going to use it anymore. Maybe go for a cheaper table. But if this is going to be a longer term item and something that you could bring with you, these drawers, while they are heavy, they are movable. Maybe spend a bit more. 400, or let's call it 500, right? Divvied up over 4 years, that's 125 per year. Yeah, again, 125 is an amount of money. And maybe you could find a table for 125 and buy that and be happy with it. But again, if you're asking for my input, I wasn't happy until I discovered this setup. And that's my take on it. For some, the OhpinyaNATED table or desk might be sufficient. For others, the lag captain might be sufficient. And ultimately, I think that's another big picture point, that you can watch these videos and you can try and, you can do one of two things. You could sit there and listen to whatever it is I say as sermon and take it as such and then go and copy whatever I say. But ultimately, you need to think about what is important to you, how you are going to use the product. And at best, at most, I can tell you how I've used it and how it's impacted me. But at the end of the day, you're going to be the one sitting there using it, and that's the most important thing, that you enjoy it. So, like I've always said, it's always best if you can get some first-hand experience. If you could go to your local IKEA and feel these things. While the KARLBY is never set up at IKEA as a desk, you can find it as a countertop. You can give it a bit of a rub, a feel, a knock, just to feel it. The Alex drawers, usually there are a number of them set up, so you can take a look at those just to get an idea of it. But ultimately, I would say this is just, this is my happy space, my happy setup. After work, I come to this desk. I work from a different desk. Just to summarize that. But yeah, I'm really happy with it overall. And once again, I hope that video was helpful to you, anybody watching right now. I hope this has aided you in finding your desk or your battle station ultimately. And I'm wishing all of you a good night, a good day, a good afternoon, wherever you are in this world. It's pretty crazy how some of you are actually not even from remotely close to my time zone. So thank you for watching. And again, hope you stay healthy and take care. Bye-bye.